Welcome to our little greenhouse here. We are trying to heat this throughout our winter with our compost and flowing water. We just got our water flow. We've got a good steady stream of water. Our water's a little dirty from kicking up dust in here, but our compost heated water runs through our entire floor all the way back and into our wall, into our compost heater. We have got our water pump set up. This is running off a battery backup. I had to affix some type of roof that protects it because this is a highly rained on spot. I didn't realize how much the water dripped here, but we had to protect that. Got all our lines running. Our little pump, pumping it out. I'm gonna head outside and show what we're doing. We've got half of our compost ready to go. We are going to add a few special ingredients to our compost. Looking at the back side, this is our top hose feeding water, so we are still having water flow with all of this strewn all over the place here, which makes us confident that this entire system will run properly as it should all winter for us as we need it. I have affixed a ton of layers of greens, browns, more greens underneath that. We used a lot of chicken bedding. We got about 6 coils, about 3 or 4 coils of hose. We've got about this much left. I wanted to bring you guys along. We have more of our chicken bedding full of nitrogen. We've got some of our Colorado mixed yarrow. This is a beautiful flower. But we are going to be using this. This is a very cold hardy, that's why it's still flowering. It's very, very high in nitrogen, and it is a kickstarter for your compost. Also, our feverfew. This is a very potent herb we have here. Our feverfew is another high nitrogen kickstarter. So we're gonna mix these two together into our compost here. Got these bedded in here pretty deep. This is about a foot deep of our yarrow and other greens that we had underneath them. We'll be filling the rest of this compost bin with our chicken bedding that is full of nitrogen. I have got the rest of the coils in our compost pile here. I'm going to throw the rest of our chicken bedding on top of this. Now to cap this off, I'm going to fill this entire bin with leaves. Entire compost bin full. I've got a bunch of wood ash. It was a little bit wet, but all of the wood ash up on top, and then I'm gonna water through the wood ash, and this whole bin will be completely soaking soggy. I may come in here and put a cover on top of this just to pack it down and keep it airtight, because when we close it, we do have this gap, and I may want to start it a little more closed off here. Got this box packed completely full. I watered it in thick, and then I laid another foot of leaves on top because it all compressed down. I'm happy with how much we fit in here. This thing is stuffed full. It should create a good amount of heat for us. If we're finding that it's not creating enough heat and it's not generating a good compost burn, I am going to add a little bit more nitrogen due to the high levels of carbon that is in this pile. But we supplemented our nitrogen with our nitrogen fixers, such as our yarrow. And we added some of our natural wood ash. And if we find that it's still not getting hot on us after adding all those things, we will add some urine. Urine is very high in nitrogen and will start this to cook very hot. That is the #1 thing that will make this cook hot. When in doubt, we can just pee on it. We are not too worried about getting it cooking. We have had a bunch of experience with compost and getting it cooking properly, so this should burn about 140 degrees for us for a couple weeks here, as long as it stays nice and moist in there, which it should. It's got a little bit of oxygen flow from the sides, so it has oxygen, it has water, it has fuel. Everything should cook properly in here. So I'm gonna head on into the inside and see if our water's still flowing. All right, it is nice and warm in here. Yes, our water is flowing. We've got good water flow. I'm not sure what gallon per hour that would be. This would fill a couple milk jugs an hour at least, so maybe 5 gallons an hour. I'm not looking for a crazy amount of flow. This flows 80 gallons per hour for a system, but I'm lifting it so high and traveling it so far. Then it comes all the way through the floor of our greenhouse back into our large tub here. So as this compost pile we just created starts to heat up, it is going to transfer its heat into the entire floor of our greenhouse and heating it up that much more for us. Our solar panel is hooked up right outside our greenhouse. This charges a 9-volt battery in there, and this little pump will keep this greenhouse warm enough off of our compost heat to keep all of these plants alive all winter long here. And this is just an experiment for us, but we have tons of green growing life in here. Underneath this board and underneath our whole floor is a hose that will heat up with our compost and hopefully give off enough heat to stave off any freezing in the ground here. We've had this little system running for about a day now. This whole thing has charged, the battery is good to go, and it seems to run for about 16-17 hours for us. That is amazing. We are going to be able to run this and keep heat rising up. We're going to put a small lid on our container here and a screen to filter our water, to keep all of our water clean, because on the ground here it can get a lot of dust and debris blown into it. Now all we're waiting for is our compost pile to heat up so we can have some heat flowing through our greenhouse. It's been about 20 degrees at night every night this week here, so having a little bit of extra heat to stave off any frost or freezing of our ground is going to benefit us in the long run here. We were very shocked that this actually worked for us. I was a little concerned that our pump was going to be too small, and it is flowing very well. We have a steady flow of water through our system. That is awesome. I hope everybody enjoyed this little video and thought it was as neat as we did. I am going to get myself a thermometer. I apologize, I do not have a thermometer now, but I'm going to get a nice one so I can see what temperatures we're achieving in the greenhouse, see what temperature water is getting sent in, and see what temperature water is coming back out. This is just a giant radiator system in our floor for our greenhouse. This big bowl of water will give off lots of heat itself. So we're just trying to exchange as much heat as we can with our compost pile through water and this little radiator system we created here to see how long and see if we can grow all this throughout our entire winter here in Zone 5A. If you enjoyed this cool little experiment, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We are continuing to work all the time. We love doing this stuff. We like finding self-sufficient ways to run systems, have systems running for us. Thank you guys for watching.